Welcome back to the channel, Detroit Lions fans. This is Utility Sports. If you are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. In today's video, we are doing a 7-round mock draft for your Detroit Lions. This is a pivotal draft for Brad Holmes and his staff because this team is building. They're progressing towards actually being pretty competitive. And we've seen that, last year. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. With the first overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson goes off the board. Really, if you look at what the Lions need, I think the front seven is pretty pivotal at this point. You definitely have to consider Kayvon Thibodeaux. There's a number of guys you could truly consider. I think edge is pretty crucial for them. Kayvon Thibodeaux is going to be my selection out of Oregon. He provides a lot of explosiveness, power, speed, fluidity off the edge. He's got some great bend as well. If you watch that tape, really good bend for his size. Honestly, I don't think you want to overthink this. In my opinion, taking him makes a lot of sense, and you shore up that edge spot. He's going to be a double-digit sack guy for most of his career, and I think his long-term upside is absolutely tremendous. So I'm not going to really think too much about it. That is going to be my selection there for them. Now we are at pick 32. Now, a lot is in play here. I'm surprised to see Malik Willis here, Kenny Pickett as well. At this point in the draft, I don't think those guys will be available. However, if this, for realism's sake, I don't want to have to do this, but I think you have to look at that quarterback spot as a main primary position. Obviously Jared Goff is the QB now, but we're looking for the QB of the future. Safety is another spot you can consider, wide receiver. Linebacker is a big one for me. As well for this team. So let's take a look at that linebacker spot, kind of get a holistic outlook. Chad Muma from Wyoming, terrific athlete, one of the more underrated prospects in this entire draft process. You remember when Logan Wilson came out of Wyoming a few years ago, drafted by the Bengals, made a big impact and was a huge reason why that defense had a lot of success, especially during that postseason run. So that's another name to consider. However, you have to consider quarterback at this point. Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett are two guys. So I'm going to go with Malik Willis, just the most talented player on the board. He's got the most moldable traits. Might not be day one ready, but that's okay because we have Jared Goff as the placeholder quarterback from this point on. He can start an entire year, let Willis sit there, learn, develop. And that's honestly exactly the situation he needs to step into. He's going to have really good infrastructure around him and be that true developmental quarterback. Malik Willis is pick 32. It's nice for the Detroit Lions because you get that 5th-year option on him, which is always big for quarterbacks. So Jaquan Brisker goes. That one hurts a little bit because I was eyeing up that safety spot. Chad Muma is definitely in play. Let's see what else we have, at that safety position. Lewis Cine from Georgia is a big name I want to watch. It's tough because I'm trying to decide if I want Cine or Muma. I think Lewis Cine's going to be the pick. I just, from an overall skill set standpoint, he brings it all. Great instincts, good tackler, good ball skills. He's kind of that complete package from the safety spot, and honestly was a big reason why that back end of that Georgia defense had a ton of success. Lewis Cine, one of the unsung heroes on that, all-time great Georgia defense. He is going to be my pick here for the Detroit Lions. And honestly, it could get scary how good this defense could be. Obviously they take an offensive player at pick 32, but with Thibodeaux and then Cine now, it's evident that this defense is going to be a priority for this offseason. Now we have pick 66. And honestly, let's take a look at the best players available because the Detroit Lions are all about value. Brad Holmes is definitely a guy that's not going to shy away from a talented player, regardless of position. But nicely, there's some talented players that definitely fit the mold. I think David Bell, John Mechie could be great fits into this Detroit Lions offense. They've proven that they can find some nice young wide receiving talent. They ended up signing DJ Chark this offseason here, which was a huge get for them. Big time receiver from Jacksonville, 6'4", a tremendous athlete. He's going to be a big time target for Jared Goff. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown there. You have Raymond there. There's a couple of playmakers in that wide receiving core. I think adding one more would be definitely beneficial. Let's also take a look at what's at that linebacker position because I think that's huge. I see Channing Tindall as being a vital piece potentially to this defense. I think that's actually more of a need, in my opinion. If you watch Channing Tindall, he definitely stood out on tape. A guy that could get sideline to sideline, terrific and run support. That's once again building up that front seven for the Detroit Lions defense is absolutely huge in my opinion. And Dan Campbell's going to be looking for some tough, hard nosed football players. That's exactly what Channing Tindall was for that Bulldog defense. So, kind of doubling down on two defensive players from Georgia. However, when you look at the actual value, you look at the tape, those two guys are very worthy of being selected by the Lions. Now, it gives them kind of an opportunity here at pick 97 to be fluid. I don't think they would necessarily be done at that linebacker spot. Let's look at what's at wide receiver. Khalil Shakir could be a name. Kyle Phillips, Wan'Dale Robinson, a super underrated playmaker from Kentucky, blazing fast. I think I'm going to go with him here. I just like what you can add to an offense with Robinson in the mix. Honestly, I love their wide receiving core. And this is setting up for a perfect foundation for a guy like Malik Willis or whoever the next quarterback could potentially be of the Detroit Lions. Now, don't get me wrong, Jared Goff is a nice placeholder for the time being, allows a young quarterback a little time to develop if they decide to draft one this year. Maybe they, once again, look at the trade market for a young quarterback. So it's really all up to Brad Holmes and what he wants to do. I know John Dorsey, who's a senior advisor for player personnel. I think he's going to have a big say in the draft. He's definitely had a couple of hits and misses throughout his career as a GM. If you think back to his time in Cleveland, he kind of built a pretty good roster there. Definitely had some misses along the way. And now we're at pick 177. Pick 177, I think we can consider a number of things. I wouldn't be afraid of looking back at that linebacker spot. Cornerback is definitely on my radar here. Josh Thompson out of Texas is still available. Kind of looking down a little bit further. Isaac Taylor Stewart, out of USC could be a potential option as well. I'm going to stick up here. I like Josh Thompson out of Texas. I think he can help out this team. A little bit more depth in that secondary is huge. Obviously, they battled a couple of injuries last year. So Josh Thompson will be a nice depth piece for this Detroit Lions defense. Once again, this has been a heavy focus on that defense. So grabbing him is absolutely huge. Once again, now I think we can look along that interior, that defensive line. Definitely have to consider a couple of guys. Marquand McCall out of Kentucky. Christopher Hinton for me as well from Michigan. Neil Farrell Jr., Thomas Booker, a couple of guys to really keep on your radar. Thomas Booker is probably the best set for this defense. I think he's going to fit in nicely into this 4-3, and I think that's the clear and obvious choice in my opinion. So picking him up, get a little bit more interior defensive line help. I also considered the interior offensive line, but I think for me, I want to get a little bit more depth, have the ability to rotate some of my defensive linemen, keep them fresh, keep the flow of the game going for them. And then we also have pick 217 to kind of work with here. Let's kind of see best player available. I wouldn't be entirely shocked if they kind of stuck to the top of the board, especially in these later rounds. I'm kind of seeing, I think Daniel Bellinger could make some sense, honestly. Looking at what this Detroit Lions, tight end room is consistently made of, I don't think it hurts to bring in the San Diego State product, just considering where they're at. I like some of their tight ends. However, I just think adding one more could make some sense. A guy that will have a really good chance to make the roster and be a potential contributor if TJ Hawkinson gets hurt. So to me, that makes a lot of sense. And then once again, interior offensive line was something I was prioritizing. Luke Fortner out of Kentucky is probably going to be my pick, kind of looking at what we have. Jermaine Waller is a terrific value here at pick 234. I'd be hard-pressed not to take him too. Very, very difficult decision. I think I'm going to opt in go with Luke Fortner, though. We got to get some more help along that interior offensive line. The Detroit Lions are very prideful of their trenches, and I don't think that really stops here. They already have a very good offensive line as it currently stands. So going with Fortner, to me, makes the most sense in the world, honestly, at this point. I like what we've been able to do for this Lions team. And we'll take a look here at the holistic results. In round one, Kayvon Thibodeaux, huge pickup, big time edge, could be a star in this league. Home run selection for Detroit. If once he steps into the building, he's going to be an immediate impact guy. Like I said, double digit sack guy for most of his career. Malik Willis was an absolute steal at 32, quarterback with multiple traits, dynamic athlete, and a super fun prospect to watch. 34, Lewis Cine, helping out that safety spot, talented guy in that back end, should be a first round level player, back half of that first round. So, once again, they're doing well. And then we come back with another Georgia player in Channing Tindall, immediate impact player, can be right in the middle of that 4-3 defense. So I think that makes a lot of sense, honestly, if you are the Detroit Lions. And you look at pick 97, Wan'Dale Robinson, great athlete, shifty, big time playmaker potentially for the Lions in the future. Then we got Josh Thompson, Thomas Booker, Daniel Bellinger, and Luke Fortner to kind of round out some of those later rounds. A combination of need and value with those last couple of picks. I think that bodes well for the Detroit Lions. So if you are a fan of the channel, enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button. Also, please leave a like if you do enjoy these kind of videos. Let me know in the comments section below what team we should do next. Appreciate you stopping by, and we will catch you in the next video.